I've seen this before with Liverpool. A player seems destined for one Premier League club, and then in the space of 24 hours, signing the paperwork to join Liverpool Football Club. We've seen it with Cody Gakpo on the verge of joining Manchester United, Liverpool player. Luis Diaz on the verge of joining Tottenham, Liverpool player. We've seen it with Hugo Ekitike, of course, recently with Newcastle, Liverpool player. In many ways, when it comes to negotiation, we do often attribute our shrewdest signings to Michael Edwards. You know, whether you praise him, whether you discredit him, Michael Edwards seems to know how to get deals done behind the scenes. Because before last night, the idea of Munoz joining Liverpool seemed as far-fetched as anything. He was a player not linked with Liverpool. He was a player not highlighted as a potential option. When Liverpool were looking at wingers, it was Balcola, it was Diomande, it was Ryan. The name Munoz was never mentioned. One of the reasons being, it seemed to be signed, sealed, and delivered 6 days ago by Fabrizio Romano himself when he announced that Munoz was on the verge of joining Newcastle United. Now, for those who have been reading the reports today, it seems that Liverpool have been moving in secrecy regarding this deal. And as late as a few nights ago, a flight was taken by Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. They spoke to FSG and got the deal over the line. Now, before I get into the player, I want to talk about how this move came about. There's been a lot of reports very quickly suggesting this was not a Hughes signing, not an Edwards signing, but very much an Iraola signing. This was a player he highlighted as an option on the market that he seemed, one, very knowledgeable about, and two, very excited to add to the team. He's given the word. Hughes and Edwards have got it over the line. A very quick turnaround for a player that we knew very little about before last night. I think one thing this earmarks to me is that although, yes, we still have our scouts, we still have our transfer team, Iraola is having a big say in this window, which was a concern for some. I know some fans I spoke to were worried that regardless of who was in charge, the same players would be coming in, and that Hughes and Edwards almost have this sort of ultimate rule over everything. It is good to see that the manager's needs and the manager's desires are being considered in the transfer market so early on. Now, the player, Victor Munoz, once of Barcelona's academy, once of Real Madrid's squad. Last season got 7 goals and 5 assists in all competitions. I believe it's 38 games he achieved this in. He was playing for an Osasuna side that was fighting relegation. He can play on the right majority of the time, though he plays on the left. He's described as a forward who is direct, who brings intensity to his game. A player that fullbacks dread to come against, not because necessarily of his output in front of goal, but because he will terrorize them for as long as he is on the pitch. When it comes to his stats, specifically, I would like to break down 4 that stood out to me. He is in the 97th percentile for successful dribbles. Now, one of the reasons I highlight this is not because it's great to see a skillful player. You know, we've had skillful players in the past. But because when I compare it to last season, whether it was a coaching issue or not, our players seemed to be afraid of taking on their man. They seemed more comfortable taking 4 or 5 touches, turning around, playing it back to the fullback, playing it back to the defender, playing it back to the midfield. It is nice to see that we are signing a winger who is direct in his approach. Secondly, he's in the 95th percentile for duels won. Again, why does this stand out? Why is this important? The way that Iraola wants to play is on the front foot. He wants aggressive players. Players who are not scared of a battle, players who are not scared of a tackle, players who will put their body on the line to win the ball in the final third. Which brings me on to the next stat. He is in the 96th percentile for balls won in the final third. This is of the elite echelon when it comes to La Liga. You think of how La Liga teams play. They are front-footed, they are aggressive, they are direct, they are brilliant on and off the ball. It's high-energy football. So when you see this stat and you think of how it could translate into the Premier League, look at Iraola's side, Bournemouth, last year. Look at them over there. Look at his tenure at Bournemouth. What were they known for? That intensity, that high pressing. That alone, having that as an available squad option, I think is essential and is a wonderful addition to a forward line which maybe lacks that intensity. Isak has all the finishing ability in the world. Hugo Ekitike has all the skill and finishing ability in the world. However, I think it's fair to say one thing that potentially we lack in that front line is that aggressive pressing energy, is that desire to win the ball. One thing I always think about when I think of like very good front lines for Liverpool, whether it was Mane, Firmino, Salah, or Salah, Nunez, Jota, and Diaz, was the intensity off the ball. There was criticisms for the players when they were in front of goal, I understand that, but their quality off the ball could not be disputed. Their work rate off the ball, their dedication off the ball couldn't be. And I think that we are signing a player in Munoz who loves the battle. I think Liverpool fans are going to take to him very quickly. The final thing I want to point out is his pace. Last season, he recorded record speeds above that of Rodrigo. You know, this is a player that is very fast, very direct, very aggressive on the ball. He seems to be able to score with either foot. He prefers the right foot. He prefers the left-hand side. Who plays on the left-hand side? Rio Engamoa, Cody Gakpo. Well, one of the reports that came out today is that Liverpool don't see him as just a left-hand-sided player. They see him as someone who is versatile, can play anywhere across that front three, which I think when it comes to Isak's injury history, he is a player that can be utilized in that false nine role. When I think of giving Rio minutes, I don't think Munoz is going to be the first name on the team sheet on the left-hand side. I think Rio is, and Munoz is going to be able to help manage those minutes where needed. On the right-hand side, let's say we bring in a Diamanda. He can't play every minute. Munoz, Chiesa, Gakpo, whoever it may be, can fill in these roles. I think we are signing a 22, nearly 23-year-old who is going to be able to be a crucial part of the squad. I think squad players are highly, in a way, discouraged when it comes to transfers. People don't necessarily seem to get excited about them, but I think quality squad players are what bring you titles. When you think of Liverpool's most successful era of recent, Jurgen Klopp, if I say, name the best squad players, James Milner, Divock Origi for his iconic moments, Joe Gomez, Joel Matip, Taki Minamino, Shaqiri. These are players that were fundamentally a crucial part of the squad. They weren't the first name on the team sheet, but they were important to the team and the success the team gained and the success the team had. Liverpool didn't seem to trust the bench in the last 18 months, whether that was a coaching issue or whether that was just the reality of the squad. I think what we are signing is a winger who's going to have an impact when they come on the pitch. What we are signing is a forward who's going to leave his mark when he enters the pitch, that will set the tone off the ball, that represents what Iraola values in a forward. And that will help keep the pressure on Rio to perform, Gakpo to perform, Isak to perform. Because when you have competition, you have that desire to show that you are better than the person you're battling against. I think we are going to try and sign a couple of players in different positions for that very purpose. Okay? And I think it's a very good signing. 35 million. Worst case scenario, Liverpool can sell him for the same price, if not a little bit more, in a couple of years' time, if hypothetically he doesn't work out. But I think he will work out. I think he'll be a very important part of the squad this year. And if he kicks on, he could be a very important part of the 11. So let's see what happens. I think overall this is a great start to the window for Liverpool. There's a lot of signals that Liverpool are going to start moving fast and quick. So expect more transfer news. Potentially Diamande will be the next thing through the door for Liverpool. But overall, I think he is a great addition. I think the competition for places in the side is essential for any successful side. I think bringing in a young player who can develop in the system, who represents the characteristics and the traits that Iraola wants is great. I think the rotation we're going to need to manage midweek and weekend games, playing his style of football, it is important we have players that can play that way right away. Yeah, listen, I just think it's a great start to the window in terms of incomings for Liverpool. Let me know what you think. Do you like the signing? Are you a bit hesitant on the signing? Regardless of that, please let me know why. In the comment section below. If you're new around here, please subscribe. Please drop a follow wherever you're watching this, whether it's on X, whether it's on YouTube. Really appreciate it all the same. And yeah, Liverpool have sniped another team to their main transfer target. Liverpool have got the deal over the line. 35 million. Munoz is a Liverpool player, and he will be certainly an exciting one to see next season. All right, see you next time. Also, before I go, I know you guys didn't like the World Cup video. I can tell that by the views. I'm still going to make more World Cup content. So if you do like that, stick around. Go check out the World Cup video. I'm going to drop another World Cup video today. It's a double upload day. All right, enjoy it.